Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. The Air Force has recently established a new lab at AEDC, which is a branch of coming out of the Air Force Research high-speed experimentation laboratory at Wright-Patt. So they're here at AEDC, and we want to find out what hypersonics is all about and what they're up to. So it should be a good show, and we're hoping to educate and inform you. Our guest is the guy who's heading the new lab, and that is Mr. Glen Liston. And Glen, thanks for taking the time to join us, and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Carrington. Appreciate it.
Okay. Tom's all right. Let's begin. Tell us a little bit about Glen.
So I've been in the Air Force as an officer and as a civilian for the past 33 years now. Been primarily in Ohio, California, now in Tennessee, so I'm glad to be here. My family is my wife Jan, and we've got 4 great kids and an ever-growing number of cats.
Yeah, and I think you said the other day the last one is finishing high school.
Last one's graduating, moving on out to that next step in life. So you're
looking forward to somewhat of a time alone, an empty nester?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay, well, with that, let's take a short break, folks, and we'll find out a little bit about hypersonics.
We are Goody Two Scoops.
I love Goody Two Scoops.
A family-friendly, yummy dessert specialty shop in Tullahoma, Tennessee. We excel in self-serve frozen treats and our own incredibly tasty chef-baked creations. For frozen treat lovers, we offer frozen yogurt, ice cream custard, as well as gelato and Italian ice. 85 flavors that rotate each day. 55 toppings including fresh sliced fruit. For our baked good lovers, Goody Two Scoops offers a variety of fresh pastries at a hometown price. Our 2 certified culinary chefs design and create incredible cakes. We showcase our cakes, froyo cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, and chocolate-covered strawberries, offered fresh daily.
I love playing.
Goody Two Scoops.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the 2 of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
Folks, talking today with Mr. Glen Liston, who is he's the chief of a new lab that's set up at AEDC to do research and testing in hypersonics. So let's begin with what in the world is it? What is hypersonics?
All right. So hypersonic generally means flight at speeds faster than Mach 5. And you go, okay, so what's Mach? Mach is the speed of sound. And
which is about 700 or so.
Yeah, 660 miles an hour up at where airliners fly. And so your typical airliner flies about 0.8 Mach number, 0.9 or thereabouts. Fighter jets fly up to 2.5 Mach. But going much faster than that has been kind of elusive for a long time. Certainly the Air Force and the Navy have operated hypersonic systems in our ballistic missiles ever since the 1950s. Those fall through the sky at a pretty fast rate of speed.
By that you mean a second stage, or third stage or something after
Right. Right.
after
When they come
get
back in the atmosphere, they're definitely at hypersonic speeds, but they don't spend any time there. It only takes them tens of seconds to come through the atmosphere. So what's new is the Air Force and our partners at DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, are working together along with NASA to develop technologies that will really operate in the hypersonic speed regime, flying at 3,000 miles an hour and faster for tens of minutes, hours, half hours, which lets us completely change the way we do our mission.
Okay, so you're looking at developing what kind of hardware? What are we talking about?
So I'm part of the Air Force Research Laboratory. My whole team is. And our job is to develop technology for the Air Force. Our goal is to advance the technology in aerodynamics, in high-speed propulsion, and in the structures that hold the vehicle together so that we can make really practical systems. Practical being pretty lightweight, durable, reusable. And a lot of our focus here in the labs that we're setting up here at ADC are to let us test things that we can't test anywhere else. Our facilities up at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, we've got wind tunnels, we've got structural test facilities, we've got propulsion tunnels, but nothing there is anywhere near the scale of what's available here in Tennessee.
What size vehicles are you anticipating for flying at that speed, and are they manned?
So, great question. First of all, the size. Right now, we're working on vehicles that are the size of missiles. Back between 2010 and 2013, we flew a program called X-51, a scramjet engine demonstrator, and it went by the nickname of a Wave Rider. That was a missile-sized vehicle, about 14 feet long after it came off its rocket booster. And that's the size class that we need if we're going to develop systems that are going to hang under an F-15 or an F-35 or fit inside a B-52 and go be a strike weapon. So that's where our early focus is.
A strike weapon. I was
cruise missile.
wondering, you're going to use these vehicles for what?
Well, they're weapons. We are the Air Force. Our job is to fly, fight, and win in airspace and cyberspace. So we develop weapon technologies. So the first batch of concepts are things that really would fit comfortably on the stage here. They're about 14, 15 feet long. They can be maintained by a couple of airmen. They can be loaded onto a jet and used to do a mission to meet our national objectives. But beyond that, we plan to use hypersonic technology for more advanced systems. You can think back to the old SR-71 that we used as a nation to keep an eye on a lot of things around the world. That's insufficient these days. It's nowhere near fast enough, but it was a really neat capability. It was reusable. It could go anywhere, anytime we needed it to. We need to be able to do that again, and that's some of the technology we're working on. So now you're looking at airplanes that are 30, 50, or 100 feet long, and
it is an airplane.
That would be the next step.
So you're going to be going to the airplane makers for hardware.
Correct. And so what we're doing is we're developing the technology that they will use to make the next systems.
Okay. So you don't have anything in work yet as far as a machine is concerned.
We have
physically in work. I mean,
we do. We have a program with that the Air Force and DARPA are collaborating on, called High Speed Strike Weapon, and working with the industry, we're building some new technology demonstrators to prove the last pieces needed to make those future systems. Yeah. And our lab then contributes to that. You had asked also about whether they'd be manned or not. Right now, pretty much the going-in assumption is those systems won't be manned. They fly too fast and things just happen too quickly for a person on board to really be of any value, and you're putting a pilot at risk for really no reason.
Okay. Let's sort of give us some sense of what the significance of this is. Why is this important?
Okay. A lot of the needs around the world are what we have as national interest are driven by how far away things are and how tough the defenses are that an adversary might put up. So as part of the Air Force, we're always looking for ways to do our job smarter, to put less risk on our citizens and our people, and to accomplish our missions without causing any more damage than is absolutely needed. So hypersonics gives us another tool in our tool bag as a nation to go and do those kinds of missions.
Okay, and it can do these missions better than a
subsonic missile.
Better than a slower what? Just because it's faster? And
that's a big piece of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, you've already talked a little bit about why you're here at AEDC. So the test facilities that you're going to need are here.
They are.
And are you building more? You're going to have to build a new.
We're doing a little of both.
Both?
The facilities here at AEDC, the wind tunnels, the propulsion tunnels, the arc jets are phenomenal facilities, and they've got some really great people that know how to run them, how to wring every last bit of information out when you put a test model in them. We're bringing in the need to do tests in a bit of a different way. Research test is a bit different than test and evaluation needed to verify that a system is ready for fielding.
Yeah, sure.
It takes a lot more sit back and think after you've got the data, and that's a mode that isn't something that AEDC can always do. At least not as part of their regular job. So we are looking at bringing up some new wind tunnels. It's one of the things my team is looking at as part of their first job. Is there's a tunnel that's been mothballed for a while. They're looking at it. They're climbing all over it, making sure they understand what it can do, what do we need it to do, and does it make sense to revitalize and take the mothballs out,
yeah.
and put that thing back in service for research purpose.
Good. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because we here have felt like that AEDC is a very significant and important facility and mission, and but yet it has seemed to be sort of going downhill. So I think this is really very good news that you're planning to use several of their facilities and maybe even build a newer one. So that's a good program to have, and that type of facilities, I guess, are not available to you anywhere else, huh?
They're not. This is a national and world unique set of test capabilities here.
Good. Somebody mentioned the other day that, and I'm not sure whether it's the Air Force or NASA or what, that there's a hypersonic tunnel in Maryland somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't have no idea what it's for. Who's that belong to? And
that's also part of AEDC. AEDC has two remote sites. One's at White Oak, Maryland, and one's out at Moffett Field in California.
Yes.
And so that facility, Tunnel 9, is an exceptionally unique facility for hypersonic testing. And we expect that we'll be doing a lot of work very closely with them also.
That both of them, or White Oak?
The White Oak. The facility out in California is a subsonic facility.
Okay. Your people, you've said a dozen or so. Mm-hmm. What kind of hombres are you looking for?
My team, my branch is predominantly engineers, aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers. And out of that dozen, there'll be 10 civilian aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers, 2 military personnel have been assigned to us, and then we've got a clerical administrative position that we're filling right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Well, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and go some more.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Are you tired of getting those letters in the mail being turned down for that new car due to bankruptcy, medical expenses, or divorce? Then look no further than Russell Barnett Kia. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Here at Russell Barnett Kia, we are your bank. Dial 931-455-6066 or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. And remember, we are the bank and we can help you. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Why buy anywhere else?
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Mr. Glen Liston, who has arrived newly in town to head the Air Force Research Lab that's being set up at AEDC, and so we're trying to find out what he's all about, what they're up to. And the question just cropped up while we were on break that we might give some illustration of your speeds as opposed to ground speeds, for example. How long does it take to get from New York to Los Angeles or Miami or something?
Great question. So as I was talking about the missiles that we're working on, the missile technology we're working on, and then to the next generation of airplane technology, if you think of things like that, flying at hypersonic speeds, Mach 6 even, is a pretty common speed that we think about. That's going a mile every second, a nautical mile, but that's academic difference between that and statute mile. Yeah. So a mile every second, which means you can go from New York to LA in just over 20 minutes. That's okay. Now you still have to wait for your baggage.
As opposed to 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, as opposed to 3 days in the car with the kids or squeezed in next to somebody else next to you on the airliner as they're snoring or whatever.
Well, a commercial airliner, yeah, what's about 5 hours, I guess.
It's about that,
4.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a really huge difference in how fast things happen.
Okay. Well, there's a role in this for UTSI.
There is.
Tell us about that.
When we set up this organization, actually it was as part of a three-way plan. Not only are the Air Force Research Laboratory, AFRL, and AEDC working together, but we knew that UTSI had to be a part of it. UTSI has been a partner of AEDC for 50 plus years now.
Yeah, that's why it was built.
Right,
Really.
exactly. And so some of the research that's going on there, plus the resurgence of their aeronautics program, is really done intentionally with us and with AEDC. Dr. John Schmischer, the new Arnold Chair at UTSI, and I work pretty closely together. My guys have seats in his office space, if you will.
Okay.
And so
he has a seat in your space, probably.
And so that's one of the things we're trying to figure out is how do I make sure that he and his students get the access they need to advance their science that we turn into technology, and together we work with AEDC to test and turn into systems.
Yeah. Yeah, that should maybe encourage a little more enrollment at their place.
It could well.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I was wondering where you're finding the kinds of people that you're looking for. At the moment, where you're recruiting.
I've got for the slots I'm filling, I put out a call pretty far and wide, and I got responses from across the country, and certainly there's quite a few highly qualified people here already in the community. But I found one of my new employees is graduated from Texas A&M, another is from Virginia, and a third one is from Ohio State. The folks I've got coming in are similarly spread far and wide, but I'm also looking very carefully at
what's already here.
What's already here, who's here, and what makes the most sense. If I can, I don't want to cherry pick somebody out of an existing organization because they're all fully used right now. But I want to build the partnerships where my new team and the existing team here can really be highly effective.
Okay. All right. Tell us a little bit about the steps you'll be going through over the next 2 or 3 years, maybe.
So our first thing is to establish our basic competency here, to get up and running with our own research goals that complement what we're doing back at our home office in Ohio, that build upon what they're doing, build upon the facilities available. We'll establish that basic competency that requires being able to run tests, being able to design the hardware, get it fabricated. It requires being able to put in the right diagnostics and the right sensors to pull the data out. We'll establish that as our preliminary competency, and we're planning in already what are the specific kinds of things that we know we need to test in aerodynamics, propulsion, and structures. A lot of our focus is on the integration of those three disciplines. So it's not quite as simple as putting a cone or a wedge or one of the what we call canonical shapes into a wind tunnel and seeing what happens. We really need to make sure that the configurations that we test are meaningful to what the Air Force needs for the future. So that's our plan is really built in a 2-year initial start, and the first 5 years and the first 10 years. I've actually got a set of goals that we're targeting for each of those time frames so that we know that we're being productive, being useful, providing answers and solutions that the Air Force needs.
Can you mention those 3 goals or so?
So some of the goals are ultimately, as an Air Force organization, Air Force Research Laboratory needs to be able to go fly the next X-plane. I mentioned X-51 a few minutes ago. That was a pretty impressive accomplishment, if we can say so ourselves, that proved the practicality of hypersonic flight, sustained hypersonic flight, as opposed to the ballistic vehicles flying through the sky. The next step is to make those things reusable, to make them reusable, bigger, faster, and much more capable. So everything that we're doing within this office leads towards that future, and also helps us field the next generation of weapon systems.
If they're recoverable, they got to go from hypersonic back into the atmosphere, and where would you expect to be landing those?
Much like the space shuttle.
In the ocean, or
well, you land them out at Edwards Air Force Base. Space shuttle came in from space at Mach 25 and landed on the lake bed there. And so, working with our partners in AFTC out at Edwards Air Force Base, we're planning exactly how to do those tests.
Okay. Who will be buying your hardware when that time comes?
Well, it's
the design and actually construction of
the way that we typically work in the Air Force labs is we develop a technology hand in hand with the industry. They're the ones that go build the future systems. Whether it's a F-22 or a satellite or a small diameter bomb or a F-135 engine, they build them. We invest in the technology and get them smarter, get them to work out the bugs, and make them low-risk items. So nobody really buys our product. We're doing it. It's public funded and it's paid for. But the knowledge itself goes into the systems that the Air Force ultimately will turn around and buy for serving the nation.
Okay. So they'll be using, basically be using the existing aerospace industries that
very much so
that are out there. Okay. Well, that gives us a little bit of your timeline. Run over that again. You're in 3 or 4 steps.
Sure. So we're standing up the office now, and we'll be fully staffed by the 1st of October. Our first 2-year plan is to get our basic competency up and running, make sure that we're functional and we're generating good data. Our first 5 years then, 2 years plus the next 3, gets us to generating technology products that are stepping stones on the way towards the ultimate goal at about the 10-year point of flying the next X-plane.
10 years, okay. Very good. Well, tell us a little bit about personally, what are you up to? Where's the family stand, and you're planning to land where here?
So I've been here off and on since last July, really, and officially moved, according to the Air Force, back in November. I've been living in an apartment. My wife will be moving down here in June. Our youngest is graduating from high school up in Ohio, and as he goes off to his next stage of life, we're looking for that opportunity to change things. We're looking around, looking at housing, got some ideas on places we want to live, trying to figure out what we want to do next. We've been active in scouting and any number of different youth activities.
Yeah, with 4 youngsters, and you have both boys and girls. So
yep, we've got been very active in that area, and now we're going, okay, so what do we do next besides sit around and and eat peeled grapes and enjoy, evening TV.
Yeah. What, with your youngsters, have you grown any engineers, any aerospace engineers in
Amazingly, no.
there? No? Okay. Well, that's good. They're entitled to go where their skills and interests lead them.
They've all got some pretty unique talents.
Yeah, good. Well, okay, with that, folks, let's take a short break and we'll have to wrap up.
Imagine a world with more birthdays. We strive for it every day. We fight to get people the best access to care and the chance for more parties to plan. We are the American Cancer Society. Help create a world with more birthdays at morebirthdays.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We've been talking today, folks, with Mr. Glen Liston, who heads a new research lab at AEDC, and we're finding out about flying hypersonics, which is above Mach 5, I think you said, right? So that's a very good brand new wrinkle. So Glen, tell you got a little something you'd like to speak direct to the folks?
Sure would. Thanks, Tom. We are in my new division and my new branch, the high-speed experimentation branch. We're just really happy to be here in the ADC community and the Tullahoma community. We find this to be a really neat opportunity to do what's our passion, which is advancing technology, especially for hypersonics. The people here have been absolutely phenomenal, on base, off base. I haven't felt more welcome any place, I know that's for sure. The staff on base has been phenomenal in getting us set up because we're doing something unique. We're bringing in an organization that never existed here before, and that's kind of messing up everybody's routine, but they're taking it really well.
Yeah.
And they've been very, very helpful. Just absolutely glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I hope they'd be interested in the next step, yeah. So, well, okay, I want to, again, welcome you to the area, and we're glad to have the new lab, and I want to thank you for taking the time to join us and give us a little education on what you're up to. So, with that, folks, thank you for allowing us into your parlor, and we'll see you next time.